Good morning. That's pretty weak. Good morning. I am the superintendent of Fort Monroe National Monument, and it's a pleasure to serve in that position. And the reason why it's a pleasure is because I've been in the agency for about 27 years. And it's not often that you see a black superintendent in a national park. And it's a really unique position to be in because when I drive over the bridge to get here each morning, I reflect on the fact that about 100 yards from where we are, Africans arrived in 1619 in this space. And if you just go about 200 yards in that direction, they built the largest stone fort in the United States. And if you go across that bridge and to that stone fort, there were 3 men who asked for asylum in the 1860s. And after they were given that asylum, nearly 10,000 people showed up at Fort Monroe, and it would later be called Freedom's Fortress. And 150 years from that moment, the very first black president, former President Barack Obama, made it a national monument. And I think we're about 5 months away from commemorating 400 years those 20 and odd Africans stepped foot on Point Comfort. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, then you're not really human, right? I did my DNA recently, and it showed that I was from, take a guess, Cameroon. And it was interesting when I looked at my DNA closely, it showed a line that said they came to Virginia. So it's even more special that when I look at the history of Fort Monroe, it's possible that my ancestors could have made their way through this space. The people behind me, the people who helped maintain this city, is in full support of telling these stories. And the fact that you showed up today is really inspiring. And like, your founder said, that if this was a football team, it would be a room full of people, but the fact that you're here because of education is really, really special. The most dangerous thing in the world is sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. And I don't see any example of that today, and I'm so proud of you. Thank you for visiting Fort Monroe. Thank you for being a part of this experience. We hope that you come back in August and show your face. Be supportive of what we're trying to do here. Because when people mention Fort Monroe, we want them to mention it when they say the Grand Canyon or the Statue of Liberty. We want them to mention Fort Monroe. You're in agreement, right?